Every fighter from Capcom liked Christmas a lot, but the demon secret boss from Capcom did not. Akuma hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Besides writers at GameFAQs, no one quite knows the reason. It could be that his tattoo was glowing too bright. It could be, perhaps, that his beads were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his black belt was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his belt or his tattoos, he stood there on Christmas Eve, pitying the foos, staring down from his cave with a pissed, badass frown at the overused sprites that lived in the town. For he knew everyone down in Capcom Beneath was busy now, buying gifts for Zangief.
And they're putting off training.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled, starting his evil vibrating.
I must stop Christmas and get Ryu to start hating.
For tomorrow he knew all the Capcom girls and boys would wake up bright and early, and they'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. The noise. Like Karen's annoying laughing. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Maybe some hair gel for Charlie and Rose. For Felicia and Midler, some new decent clothes. For Vega, a new mask and a shiny new claw. And for the succubus Lilith, a new push-up bra. And then, they'd do something he hated a lot. Every fighter from Big Victor to Little Servbot would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and those fools would start singing. Then he'd taunt, and he'd taunt, and he'd taunt. And the more Akuma thought of Dan Hibiki taunting, the more he thought,
I must stop that village idiot's flaunting. I've been putting up with this for about 8 years now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how?
Then he got an idea. An awful idea. Goki got a Setsui no Hado ni Mezama Meta idea.
I know just what to do.
Akuma grunted with glee, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a gi, and he chuckled and posed.
Their cheer I will thresh. With this gi and this hat, I'll be Christmas made flesh. All I need is a reindeer.
Akuma looked around, but since he used them for target practice, there was none to be found. Did that stop old Goki?
No!
Yelled the man with the tattoo of 10.
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one in Mugen.
So he called his dog Iggy, and he took a rubber band, and he tied a big horn on top of his stand. Then he loaded some sacks for his war against Yule, and he hitched up poor Iggy, and his stand called the Fool. Then Akuma said,
Go!
And the sleigh started down, towards the homes where the Shotos lay KO'd in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the scene. All the fighters were all dreaming, without Death 13. When he came to the first house in the square,
this is stop number 1.
The old demon claws hissed, and he climbed to the roof.
I'm the master of the fist.
Then he slid down the chimney with very little room. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Coom. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two, but then he just teleported out of the fireplace flue, where Dr. Light's stockings were all hung in a row.
Stockings are for the weak. They'll be the first things to go.
Then he floated on one leg with a frown that was sour around the whole room, and he took every power. Shadow stars, hard punches, and strength from the guts. Search snakes, Gemini lasers, and a boomerang that cuts. And he stuffed them in bags, and with a strong, firm grab, he threw them straight up the chimney and out of the lab. Then he punked out all the presents and the goodies with glee.
And now,
grinned Goki,
I will show Ryukin the tree!
And the demon made a fist, his digits starting to curl, when he heard a small sound of a young robot girl. He turned around fast and he saw a small soul, little cute Roll, who was out for a stroll. Akuma had been caught by Mega Man's sister.
State your business, runt!
The old demon hissed at her. She stared with wide eyes and said,
Santa Claus, why are you kicking our tree's ass? Why?
Akuma needed a lie, so he gave it a shot. But all he could mutter was ... You're
that mean Akuma!
Roll jumped up with a shout, and in desperation Akuma knocked her ass out. He shoryukened the tree and straight through the roof. With a cool shadow effect, he was gone with a poof. And the one speck of food that was left in this stop was a crumb that was even too small for Flip-Flop. Then he went to other houses, stealing gifts by the batch. He even went to Sagat's place, and stole his eye patch. It was 1:15 dawn, all the fighters in bed, all the fighters still KO'd while he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, like Dimitri's new casket, and baby Bonnie Hood's brand shiny new weapon basket. 3,000 feet up the side of a volcano. He laid the smack on the gifts like he was Captain Insano.
Those warriors are weak!
He was evilly humming.
They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up, and I know what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open, and they will start puking, and they'll get into fights, and Ken will shout out, Hadouken! That is a noise,
He grunted.
that I simply must hear.
So he paused, and Akuma put a hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, and it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded glad. It couldn't be so, yet Dan was still taunting and screaming for Dad. He stared down at Capcom, he narrowed his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every fighter from Q to Cap Commando was singing. Without any presents to show, he hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And Akuma with his sandals, ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? They should be throwing Hadoukens, hitting Shoryukens, Goryukens, Gadoukens, and Shippubambukens.
And he puzzled 3 hours, as he was mad to the core. Then Goki thought of something he hadn't before. And he nodded with a smile, and crossed his arms as he stood.
Maybe Christmas, perhaps, is about being good.
But this touching scene was soon interrupted, and he sensed that one man who was just as corrupted. And he saw Junie and Julie and Bertie and Bison, and Balrog the boxer who resembles Mike Tyson. As he saw all the gifts ravaged by Shadaloo, he thought,
I now know what I have to do.
But the odds were against him, and the fight was not pleasant, for it seemed the reformed Akuma would not save a present.
Soon I will add these gifts to my psycho drive, and then
Bison smiled.
I'll be the strongest alive!
And what happened then? Well, in Capcom they say that Akuma's Super Bar grew 3 levels that day. And he became Shingoki, and his power went max, and he gained the strength of 10 Hugos, or 1 or 2 Jacks. And the spirit of Christmas helped fuel his resistance, as he beat Shadaloo within an inch of existence. After only a moment, they were all screaming, as he took most of them out with his raging demon. It would have been better if M. Bison ran, because Akuma yelled,
Kongo Kokuretsu-san!
His now green tattoo was glowing for all of them to see.
Because it is Christmas, I will let you 5 be.
And for a minute, his belt didn't feel quite so tight. And he traveled with his dog through the bright morning light. The people of Capcom were more than good sports, and Adon was freezing from just wearing shorts. He gave back every gift. He gave back every toy. For DJ, for Tronbon, for Raptor, for Roy. For Anakaris, for Chun-Li, for QB, for Ken. For Jill, for Saturn, and Akuma's rival Gen. For Fei Long, for Hinata, for June, for Whole Horse. Did he apologize to the injured girl role? But of course. For Jotaro, for Dan, who he liked the least. And he himself, Akuma gave back to the green, rolling beast.